Team, is it time for the Army to make a change in the semi-centralized promotion system? We're talking about promotions to the rank of sergeant and staff sergeant. Of course, in both of these is a little bit different than the decentralized or the centralized, and it's also different in the armies compared to how we promote, at least in my experience from when I was in the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps is all points-based, similar to the Army, to the ranks of corporal and sergeant in the Corps, and in the Army is to sergeant, staff sergeant. But how you earn some of those points is a little bit different. So in the Marine Corps, speaking specifically of my experience in the 90s, we got pro and con marks. So your first line, basically recommended what your proficiency and what your conduct was, and those all rolled into points, along with things that are similar for us in the Army. And that was your rifle qualification, your physical fitness evaluation, and correspondence courses, things of this nature. Of course, in the Army, to earn your promotable status in order to be eligible for promotion, you have to basically go and sit before a promotion board. It's kind of like a job interview where you have senior enlisted service members sitting on this board, and you're here to pitch yourself to explain why you should be eligible for promotion. It does not equate promotion because it is still points based, and you have to do things in order to get after it in order to actually become promotable. Different from, say, the Army or the Navy and the Air Force, in which you take tests. So there's been a lot of discussion over the years that the Army should change and move to a test as opposed to a promotion board, that the promotion board is inherently wrong and that tests are the way to go. So I'm looking forward to your thoughts and your comments down below about our current system, about if we should make a change, what changes should we make. That way we can continue to keep this conversation rolling. It's what this channel is all about. Professional development, military news, and putting some stuff into folks' kit bags that, quite frankly, I didn't have growing up, with a little bit of a lack of transparency, right, wrong, or indifferent. So, Stoker's thoughts and opinions on the promotion system. Do I believe, A, that points is the way to go as compared to simply taking a test? I think that having a points-based system similar to what we have is a pretty holistic approach, because it's concerned about soldiering. It's concerned about, are you able to do the things that ultimately can quantify some statements that we have and say that the soldier's creed, right? Are you a warrior and a member of a team? Well, if you are a warrior, you should be able to shoot your weapon. You should be able to conduct some physical readiness training and testing evaluations. You should have some knowledge in your up in your skull by way of either correspondence courses, military education, or civilian education, right? Have you been decorated and awarded, commended for some of your past experiences by way of awards? I think that's a good thing, right? And that all kind of puts you in the motion to get promoted. But prior to that, in the Army, we have a promotion board. And I think that the promotion board, because I get asked, like, Top, can you adequately see somebody's potential? And I'm going to tell you that I believe the answer is yes. From my foxhole, from this side of the desk, if it were. Prior to somebody walking in, board members, we have a conversation about folks that are walking in. I'm looking at board packets, so I'm looking at record briefs, I'm looking at PPWs, I'm looking at all of your supporting documentation. And things that I look at in there is, what's your GT score? How many correspondence courses do you have? Do you have any education? What's your clearance and the status of that? What's your PT test? What's your weapons test? Where have you been assigned to in the Army? Because it kind of gives some depth of experience. I'm looking at your bio to read a little bit about how you want to share yourself, especially your short and long-term goals. And that's all before somebody even comes in. And in this process of a promotion board, like I don't, I am not looking for a specialist to be a T at being an NCO. Like that's not how it works. And so people will get caught up in answering, board answers and book answers and things. And that's where a lot of complaints come in from is you can study for this. Well, you can study, but you can't prepare and study confidence, right? You have to execute. And you have to be confident in front of seniors that are asking you questions and grilling you about why you should be eligible to be promoted, right? It's not why we're going to promote you. It's why should you be eligible to go to an NCO school, have your promotable status, and ultimately stand ready to be promoted to that next rank. And so again, for those specialists coming in, again, like I am not looking for somebody who is a T because you're not a T. I'm looking at somebody who might be a T at being a soldier, right? Does that make sense? That soldier's creed and those basic things, are you a T at that? Or are you just getting by? I'm looking for somebody who has some drive to lead others, to accomplish the mission and improve the organization while taking care of those who are in our charge. I sat on a board yesterday and I had the soldier basically say that she should be an NCO because she could help people through life events. I'm like, hey, bro, that's great. But that is barely a fraction of what it means to be an NCO. I had another soldier say that they should be promoted because they were technically proficient at their job. And this is reason number 2 why I believe that the system that we have in place is right. Because if you look at the centralized promotion system, hell, if you just look at amongst our ranks at large, regardless of your rank, grade, or position, there are times in your career when you're not going to be doing your JOB. You could be working in a training room, in an orderly room. You could be in a battalion, in a staff position. You could have additional duties. You could be working in the arms room. You could be assisting in the Seaburn room. All kinds of things that pull you out of your MOS. And truth be told, the more responsibility that you have, you're probably not going to be technically on point when it comes to your actual MOS, if that makes sense. Because you're leading soldiers, you're concerned about training and you're concerned about administration. Now, there's buck sergeants, man, you are at the tip of the spear, and you should dang well be out on the front line. And if you're a squad leader, of course you need to be present. And platoon sergeants and first sergeants, we all need to be present. But as a first sergeant, man, I have, especially in my company, I have dozens of MOSs that I need to be concerned about, let alone my own. As a battalion command sergeant major or sergeant major, again, whether you're in a staff position or whether you're in a command position, you are echelons away from your actual MOS. So when we think about that, and when you look at the centralized promotion board system, they are looking at that depth of experience. Have you done a special duty assignment? Have you been a recruiter or a drill sergeant or an instructor? Have you done any other broadening assignments like maybe WACA or SMU or SVAB? All of these things take you away from your MOS. And if you're in a technical MOS, every unit is going to be a little bit different because not everybody doesn't just use M-TOD equipment. We use COTS or commercial off-the-shelf equipment. And so some of the theory remains the same, but the actual application changes because the pieces of gear and equipment and kit that you're using is going to be different. It's not going to be the same. And it's constantly changing year after year, let alone unit after unit. And so, in my opinion, a written evaluation about your JOB is insufficient because it is not holistic. And for most of us, our conditions may remain the same, our tasks may remain the same, or conditions change, obviously, and the standards kind of remain the same. But those intricate details, they change. SOPs change. If you're in a non-technical MOS, you probably have SOPs for everything that you do, and specific unit level and driven battle drills for how you get after your job and your METs. The Army may have a individual or a collective task that you're getting after, but that's often lost in translation because gone are the days when people have those TE and O's in a checkboard and are getting after it. You will see it when you go to things like EFMB or EIB or a CSB, whatever. But when you're going after an expert soldier badge, i.e. ESB, or if you're going after an expert infantry badge or a medical badge, you're going to have people with that checklist, with that TE and O, and it's Army standard. But how many people fail even after a 2-week workup? Not just talking about the folks who don't want to complete it for whatever reason, but the folks who just can't do it to standard. And all of those things, they're basic tasks. Basic 10 and 20 level tasks. Nothing is advanced. Well, man, if we can't get that right, how are we going to get things right on a written evaluation? That, again, this is just, Stoker's thoughts and opinions. I think that the way we are doing things, it may not be the absolute greatest thing since sliced bread. Certainly there could be room for improvement. And I would submit to you that it's going to change, as I've seen it changed just in my career, of how we earn and garner points and how much different things are weighed in the scale. But there's such a holistic approach in a points-based system that has no bearing. There's very little bearing on outside entities. Like if you did everything that you can do to the max, you're going to be sitting pretty well in your MOS. Certainly some are harder to get promoted in based off of strength. But for the most part, if you're getting after those things, it's fine. Now, things that you can't control is like getting to a military school. You can't just go to a military school, and you can't just give yourself an award. And you can't just put yourself in a position to be deployed. I think that'll probably be one of the changes that'll come out sooner than later as it relates to deployments. But you take those aside and you look at your civilian education, you have direct control of that. Your correspondence courses, you have direct control of that. Your ACFT, your weapons qual, all things that we can get after. You can get after a technical certification. Even if you can't get to a train-up school, you can still get everything that you need, including vouchers, to go take them. You can go take the language test and get some points. All kinds of things that we can do that ultimately are holistic. They're broad in scope. It's not looking for the geek and that is the sole source. It's not looking for somebody who can just take a written test. How many times have I heard it said, the promotion board is the wrong way, should know how to do your job, but ultimately that means coming down to taking a written test. You have A, B, C, or D because we have to do multiple choice, right? Everybody would fail if it was narrative. Well, out of those 4 A, B, C, and D answers, At least one, and odds are two, are obviously wrong. And now you have a 50% shot of getting that question right, even if you didn't know the answer. And this is what some people want to base promotion systems on. How well that you can study and take an evaluation, a written evaluation. It's crazy talk, in my opinion. Crazy talk. Or would you rather somebody be able to shoot, move, and communicate? It's kind of our system right now, right? It's kind of our system. And I think it's been doing a good job. And so if we think that it's not doing a good job, what we need to pull back the cover on is saying, are we promoting the wrong people? If it's the wrong system, if there's a systematic issue, are we promoting the wrong people? Because the argument should be that we are promoting the wrong people. Most people that I've met, NCOs, are doing okay. Some of us have some room to grow, and that's okay. But there are very little people, especially in leadership positions, who shouldn't be there. From the top down. I've met some who, in my opinion, probably should not be there. And you know what? In a lot of those cases, they didn't last long. Or they didn't make it far after that. Because it all kind of washes out in the end. The system kind of works. It's kind of effective. I don't know. Team, those are my thoughts, my opinions on this thing. Again, I'm looking forward to hearing yours down in the comments below. Until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.